Fairview looked calm again. The lawns were trimmed. The sidewalks were quiet. But under that calm, something was rotten. Derrick could feel it every time he stepped outside his door. Eyes watching him from behind curtains, whispers that stopped when he passed. Ever since the night, he found those HOA files in his mailbox, the ones marked confidential, police correspondence. He hadn't been able to sleep. Inside those papers were two names that didn't belong together. Officer Hale and Eleanor Briggs, the head of the HOA, the woman who called the cops on him. Detective Carter leaned back in her chair at the Fairview Police Department, flipping through her notes. Officer Hale's been missing for 3 days, she said. No word, no call, no trace. Derrick sat across from her, hands clasped tightly. You think it's connected to the HOA? Carter nodded slowly. It's more than possible. Hale filed 3 noise complaints last month, all signed off by Eleanor Briggs. But the addresses, she turned the file around. Every single one of them belonged to you. Derrick frowned. I never called him. Never even saw him. Carter sighed. Exactly. Someone wanted it to look like you were the problem. There was a long silence. The hum of the fluorescent lights filled the room. Derrick, she said, lowering her voice, this isn't just about a nosy neighbor anymore. Someone's moving pieces behind the scenes. 2 nights later, Derrick and Carter drove out to the edge of Fairview. The HOA record showed a property, Lot 19B, listed under Community Management Storage. But when they got there was no house, no lights, just a small fenced-off shed behind a line of pine trees. Carter killed the engine. That's it. They stepped out, flashlights slicing through the darkness. The air smelled like iron and old wood. The door to the shed was locked. But Derrick noticed something, a fresh set of muddy footprints leading inside. He knelt. Someone was here recently. Carter crouched beside him, or still is. They exchanged a look. Then Carter picked the lock. Quick, precise. The door creaked open. Inside, there was nothing but dust and a chair. A single chair bolted to the floor. And on it, a badge. Officer Hale's badge. Carter froze. Oh my God! Underneath the badge was a note, handwritten in shaky ink. They know what we did. Don't trust the HOA. The next morning, Derrick drove to the Fairview Library, the only place in town with public archives that hadn't been digitized. He dug through old HOA meeting minutes, public land records, and property transfers. Then he found it. In 2018, the HOA transferred ownership of several community plots, including Lot 19B, to a private LLC. The name? Eleanor Briggs Development Holdings. But that wasn't the shocker. Listed under officers and board representatives was another name, Chief Robert Hale. Officer Hale wasn't just missing. He was in business with the woman who called the police on Derrick. That evening, Derrick parked outside Eleanor Briggs' house. It looked perfect. Trimmed hedges, a red front door, American flag waving gently in the breeze. He rang the bell. She opened it with that same practiced smile. Mr. Parker, to what do I owe this surprise? Derrick's tone was calm but steady. You and Officer Hale. You've been buying up lots around Fairview, haven't you? Her smile didn't flinch. I'm afraid I don't know what you were. He held up the file. Your signatures. Right here. Her eyes darted to the papers. Where did you get that? Doesn't matter. What matters is what happened to him. She stepped closer. You're treading on dangerous ground, Mr. Parker. You think this neighborhood runs on sunshine and lawnmowers? It runs on power. And you're poking at people who don't like being seen. Derrick stared at her. Then, maybe it's time someone turned on the lights. Before she could respond, Carter's voice cut in from the sidewalk. Eleanor Briggs, step away from him. Carter was holding her badge out, and 3 officers were behind her. But Eleanor didn't look afraid. She just smirked. You really think you can clean Fairview, detective? You have no idea how deep the dirt goes. Back at the station, Carter and Derrick watched as the tech team examined Eleanor's confiscated computer. Encrypted files, one of the techs said, but there's a local backup on this USB drive. He inserted it, the screen filled with folders. HOA contracts _ 2019 police payments _ spreadsheet audio recordings. Carter clicked the last one. The audio hissed, then a voice came through. Officer Hale. Eleanor, this isn't what we agreed on. Eleanor, you knew what this was, Robert. These homes were never meant for everyone. Hale, you're targeting black families. You can't, Eleanor. I can, and I will, because Fairview isn't changing. Not while I'm alive. Carter's face tightened. We've got her. Then another voice came through, quieter, colder. Chief Hale, make sure he doesn't talk again. And that's when it hit them. The missing Officer Hale wasn't just a victim. He'd been silenced by his own brother. It was raining when they returned to Lot 19B. The ground was soft, muddy, like it had been dug up recently. Derrick's boots sank deep into soil. Here, he said, this is where the footprints led. Carter called for a forensic team. Within minutes, they'd uncovered a shallow grave. The body was badly decomposed, but the badge on the belt was still visible. Officer Hale, Carter whispered. She wasn't bluffing. This whole place is built on lies. Derrick looked at the body, then at the empty houses around them. Fairview looks perfect because it buries what it doesn't like. 2 days later, the story hit local news. HOA scandal shocks Fairview. Officer found dead in community lot. But within 24 hours, it vanished from every platform. Carter stormed into her captain's office. Why was the report pulled? The captain avoided her eyes. Orders from above. You mean Chief Hale? He didn't answer. When Carter got home that night, her car alarm went off. Inside her mailbox, a single white envelope. No address, no stamp, just her name. Inside, a flash drive. She plugged it into her laptop. It was surveillance footage from Derrick's backyard. And there, under the porch light, was Derrick talking to her the night they found the body. The camera zoomed in. The timestamp was wrong. It showed the conversation happening 2 days before it actually did. Someone was rewriting evidence. Someone wanted Derrick gone. At 2:43 a.m., Derrick woke to the sound of footsteps on his porch. He grabbed a bat and crept to the window. A black SUV was parked outside, engine idling. A man in a dark coat stood at his door, not knocking, just listening. Derrick opened the door slowly. You lost. The man smiled faintly. Mr. Parker, you should stop asking questions. You have a daughter, don't you? Derrick froze. What did you just say? The man's eyes were empty. People who dig up Fairview's dirt don't stay clean for long. Then he turned and walked away, disappearing into the rain. Derrick stood there, shaking, every instinct screaming at him to get his family out. But before he could move, his phone buzzed. A text. No name. Just one sentence. Officer Hale isn't the only one buried in Fairview. Carter called him the next day. I think I found something. They met at the county records building. She slid a manila folder across the table. Eleanor Briggs, Chief Hale, and 3 other HOA members. They were funneling money from community maintenance fees into a private fund called the Fairview Preservation Project. Derrick frowned. Preservation of what? Carter's eyes darkened. Of who lives here. They've been using zoning laws and false violations to push out families they don't want. Hale started recording everything when he realized how bad it was. Until they silence him, Derrick said. She nodded. And now they're trying to silence us. That evening, Derrick returned home to find the HOA office door ajar. Inside, files were scattered, drawers ripped open. On the desk was a letter addressed to him. Mr. Parker, you wanted the truth about Fairview. It's closer than you think. A friend. Underneath the note was a small key, marked Storage, Unit 12. Carter met him there an hour later. They unlocked the unit and stepped inside. Stacks of boxes filled the room, labeled incident reports, surveillance logs, member expulsions. Then Derrick saw something that made his chest tighten. A folder with his name on it. Inside, printed photos of him, his wife, his daughter, timestamps, home addresses, even grocery receipts. Jesus, Carter whispered. They've been tracking you since the day you moved in. Derrick flipped to the last page. It was a document titled Eviction Notice. Pre-approved. Date 2 days from now. Carter's phone buzzed. A new message from an unknown number. She read it out loud. "Detective Carter, you're next." The lights in the storage unit flickered. Outside, the rumble of an engine echoed. A black SUV rolled to a stop. Carter looked at Derrick. "They found us." Derrick's pulse thundered. "Then let's make sure they know who they're dealing with." As the headlights flooded the unit, Carter raised his gun, steady, defiant, and Derrick whispered under his breath, "Fairview forgot one thing. I don't scare easy." The SUV doors opened. Footsteps, voices, then silence. Cut to black.